let's jump over and take a look at the Cardinals 49ers game. And man, I don't know if any of you have been paying attention to the news, but this game is potentially one of the more panicky games on the slate with the current situation in California and the rising smoke levels. There is a potential chance that this game gets outright canceled. Now, hopefully, if they know that that's going to happen, they'll have a pivot play. I mean, the Cardinals aren't traveling to San Francisco until tomorrow. And I would hope that considering how close these guys are in terms of their travel schedule, that they would pivot and play this game in Arizona. I don't know if that's on the cards. I haven't heard one way or another, but if the air quality is continuing to get worse, like we were close to the point today where it is beyond safe levels for NFL players to play on a football field, and if the air quality continues to get worse as it's being projected to do, this game is most certainly in jeopardy. And if they outright cancel it, this is a later game on the slate. Lots of big fantasy names: George Kittle, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Kenyan Drake, Raheem Mostert. All of these guys we're going to need to have a backup plan for, because if this game gets canceled Sunday morning, you're not going to have a lot of time to pivot. So keep this in mind. If you guys have leagues where you have waiver runs, we're going to need to have a few backup plans just in case. Now, I'll go through and talk about this assuming the game happens, but keep that in the back of your mind as we're talking about this. So this is a pretty juicy matchup, and right now Vegas has this game projected to be 48 over-under, with the 49ers winning by 7, giving us about 27.5 to 20.5 for the Cardinals. Obviously, last year the Cardinals were pretty bad on defense all around across the board, one of the worst teams in the league against the tight end. Going against George Kittle, that's not going to be a very fun matchup for the Cardinals defense. Now, the 49ers last year were pretty good at funneling against the run. They started to lose their strength against the tight ends over the back half of the year, but they were normally a good point funnel for receivers. We're expecting the 49ers defense to take a little bit of a step back this year as well. And obviously, with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, getting Kenyan Drake signed on to a pretty decent deal for this year, we're expecting Kyler Murray to take a step forward. I like this game a lot, assuming it happens. I think this game will definitely be one of the saucier games in terms of fantasy points being scored, and I actually like the over in this one. So there's going to be a lot of really good plays here. So starting with the Cardinals, I mean, this one's pretty much chalk. If you drafted Murray, you drafted Drake, and you drafted Hopkins, you're going to throw them out there and start them. And I shouldn't have to, explain why, but I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is being shadowed by a 32-year-old Richard Sherman who clearly has shown signs of slowing down. I don't think Hopkins is going to have any problem getting past him. Now, Kirk is an interesting name as well. I'd be willing to flex him in a decent situation, depending on how deep your bench is. But with Larry Fitzgerald still there, I am so concerned for volume in terms of how much this offense gets spread around. That air raid offense can really spread the ball around, in terms of who ends up getting a lot of targets. With Andy Isabella there as well, there could be a lot of frustration with the receiver options here, at least until we have a idea of how this offense is going to look. I'm probably going to stick with just playing Hopkins until I know otherwise. If Kirk takes a massive leap forward, he's on your bench, great. Even if he blows up, don't sweat it too much. And then obviously Edmonds is probably going to get a little bit of work and spell Drake a bit, but until Drake gets hurt, Edmonds is probably going to remain on your bench. I'm not going to throw Larry Fitzgerald or Dan Arnold. I'm definitely not going to start the Cardinals D because I'm expecting this to be a pretty high-scoring game overall. And then in terms of the 49ers, I really think even with the amount of receiver injuries that they're dealing with right now, Jimmy Garoppolo is a pretty decent start. Again, the Cardinals are not an imposing defense by any means. The lack of the ability for the Cardinals to stop the tight ends last year, we'll see if that continues into this season. But with George Kittle being as dominant as he is, he could have a massive game. Looks like Deebo Samuel is out, but I do think Brandon Ayuk will at least get to play a little bit. But even outside of that, Trent Taylor, Kendrick Bourne, Jimmy Garoppolo is still going to be able to find a way to get things done here against the Cardinals in a game that should be a shootout. Still think Jimmy Garoppolo is one of the cheaper options this week. And with Tevin Coleman, I'm not exactly sure why or what his condition is, but he actually wasn't practicing these last couple of days with the smoke in the air, and there's a chance that even if this game plays, that Tevin Coleman doesn't suit up. I'm not sure what condition he has that's actually precluding him from playing, but apparently he's not able to play at even lower levels of pollution in the air. So Tevin Coleman is someone that's pretty much a hard fade for me, and if he's out, that kind of elevates Jerick McKinnon into an interesting situation, especially in tourney plays for DFS. But Mostert should be a pretty solid start this week, and if you need a flyer, I do think Kendrick Bourne puts a pretty decent chance at scoring a touchdown this week. So if you need like a last-second dart throw, Kendrick Bourne is definitely an option for you there. In terms of how I think this game is going to go, though, guys, I think the Cardinals can actually surprise in this one. Typically, teams coming off that Super Bowl loss, have a little rust to knock off, and sometimes they get smacked in the face. I think the Cardinals are an ascending team, and I would not be surprised if the Cardinals take the 49ers down in this one. I got the Cardinals winning this one by 3.